In half an hour, World Football with John Bennett.
We reflect on one of the worst stadium disasters in the history of football. We hear an eyewitness account of the tragedy in Malang, which killed over 125 people. A former Indonesia international also gives us his reaction.
This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station. At 10 hours GMT, welcome to the newsroom from the BBC World Service with Valerie Sanderson. This year's Nobel Peace Prize is awarded to human rights advocate Airspy from Belarus and two organizations in Russia and Ukraine. Together, they demonstrate the significance of civil society for peace and democracy. We're in Zaporizhzhia, as the Ukrainian city searches for survivors of Russian missile strikes. President Putin turned 70. We assess his mood. The King of Thailand is visiting the survivors and families of victims who died in an horrific attack on a nursery school. And a statue of a black footballer denied his place in the England team nearly 100 years ago is being removed. We're hoping, as the story goes on, it will help in the fight against injustice caused by prejudice, to try and sort of promote diversity and equality. After this.
BBC News. Hello, this is Jeremy Smith. This year's Nobel Peace Prize has been jointly awarded to the Belarusian human rights activist Airspy and two organizations, the banned Russian Civil Rights Group Memorial and the Ukrainian Center for Civil Liberties. The announcement was made in Oslo by the chairwoman of the Norwegian Nobel Committee, Berit Reiss-Andersen.
The Peace Prize laureates represent civil society in their home country. They have for many years promoted the right to criticize power and protect the fundamental rights of citizens. They have made an outstanding effort to document war crimes, human rights abuses, and the abuse of power.
Thailand's Prime Minister has joined grieving parents outside a nursery school where 23 children were killed on Thursday, placing white flowers on the steps of the centre. In total, the assailant murdered at least 36 people in the town of Uttar Sawat, including his wife and son, before killing himself. Jonathan Head is at the scene.
Everyone here is sharing this terrible burden. Of course, what nobody has up to now is any answers as to why this dreadful event happened. This is a very quiet place with a little nursery school where nobody could have imagined anything like this happening. Even the teachers who confronted the killer with his gun and then ran away from him say they never thought he would target the children. And it's the shock of that people here are still absorbing.
President Biden says the risk of nuclear Armageddon is at its highest level since the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. Mr. Biden said he understood that President Putin was not joking when he spoke of using tactical nuclear weapons. This report from Peter Barrett.
US officials have been warning for several months that Russia could resort to the use of weapons of mass destruction if it suffered setbacks on the battlefield in Ukraine. Mr. Biden told fellow Democrats the use of tactical, nuclear, biological or chemical weapons could quickly spiral out of control into global destruction. Last week, the US National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, said despite Mr. Putin's saber-rattling, the US had seen no signs that Russia was imminently preparing to use nuclear weapons.
There have been further Russian attacks on the city of Zaporizhia in southeastern Ukraine, where at least 12 people were killed by missile strikes on Thursday. The region's governor said the latest attacks damaged a residential building and utility networks. News on the BBC. Despite battlefield reverses in Ukraine, Russian officials have been praising President Putin in congratulations to mark his 70th birthday. The head of the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill, has led the tribute. He said God has placed Mr. Putin at the helm of power so that he can perform a service of special importance for Russia and its people. Vladimir Putin has ruled Russia for 23 years uninterruptedly as Prime Minister and President, cementing a highly authoritarian system in the process. Human Rights Watch has strongly criticised the Indian authorities for using what it calls summary and abusive punishments against Muslims deemed to have broken the law. The statement came amid reports of attacks on Muslim places of worship and property. The governing Hindu nationalist BJP denies the accusation. This report from our South Asia editor, Amber Affirmative Watch.